Hey everybody, it's Joan. Today from Joan's Kitchen, we're going to be making gnocchi alla Sorrentina. Gnocchi is pasta. This particular one that I'm making is made from potatoes. You'll remember a few weeks ago we made handmade gnocchettini where we made the pasta and rolled it out on a little paddle. This is the same shape, but it has different ingredients. It's made with potatoes, with mashed potatoes actually. So what could be better than pasta made with mashed potatoes? It cooks up pillowy soft, and it's nestled in a delicious tomato sauce with lots and lots of cheese. So that's what we're doing today. This is real comfort food, and if you have everything on hand or if you pick it up from the store, it can be put together really quickly. So here we go. To make the gnocchi, you need this kind of gnocchi that you can get packaged at the grocery store. It mostly comes from Italy, and these are little pillows that are made, like I said, out of mashed potatoes and a little bit of flour. I actually have another package here that I'm going to get started, but you can see what they look like. They come in the package. They're kind of dried and they cook really quickly. They'll cook in about 2 to 3 minutes. So I've got my pot of water that's boiling here already. I'm going to slip these guys in there. The other ingredients for this is a tomato sauce. I'm using a tomato sauce that's from Italy, but you can use any regular tomato sauce in a can if you like. And if you're in a pinch, you could also use jarred spaghetti sauce. That would work just fine. This is going to have some mozzarella cheese on it, a little bit of garlic, and some olive oil, as well as some fresh basil. So those are all the ingredients. I've got my gnocchi here in the water. The water cooled down a little bit when I put them in, but it'll come back to the boil, and as soon as they float, they're done. It only takes about 2 or 3 minutes typically for them to be done. I've gone ahead and made my tomato sauce already. To make the tomato sauce, you heat a little bit of olive oil and put a clove of garlic in there to warm, and then you put the tomato sauce in. You don't dilute it, and then you take a few basil leaves, and my friend Chef Dino in Abruzzo says it's better to tear the basil leaves rather than cutting them. He says that the flavor is better if you do that. This dish has a travel story. If you are in Rome, a really nice day trip to take is to go to Pompeii. It's a long day. It'll probably be about a 14-hour day between the time you leave your hotel in the morning and when you get back. But the drive to Pompeii is really beautiful. You go along the Amalfi Coast, which is one of the most beautiful places in Italy. And both times when we've taken this trip, our driver has taken us and stopped for lunch along the way. The first time that we did this, it was in the summertime, and we stopped in Positano, which is this just stunning little seaside town. They definitely have a season there, so they're really only operating from the late spring into the early fall. It's a little beach town, and it's just beautiful. The scenery there is beautiful. You can see the island of Capri from there. The other time that we went, we stopped in Sorrento, and that was actually where I had this dish for the first time. We stopped in a little restaurant, and our guide said that this particular dish was kind of like the main dish in Sorrento, the gnocchi alla Sorrentina, and it was so good. I had such good memories of it, and actually the guide sent me the recipe after we got home, and I've made it a couple times, and it really is a very easy and quick dish to pull together. It's almost like an Italian version of macaroni and cheese. It's soft pasta and really tasty tomato sauce, lots of cheese. I mean, what could be more comforting than that? I highly, highly recommend visiting Pompeii when you go to Italy. It's well worth the visit. It's just an amazing archaeological site. Pompeii sits in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, and they had an eruption there a couple thousand years ago that happened pretty much without warning, and people were trapped in their homes, which was very sad. I mean, you go there and you still see the human forms of people that were coated in lava, and then there was like a cavity where their body had basically been, and they've made casts of these people. The town itself, because of being covered with volcanic lava, is very, very well preserved. So it's a great example of a well-preserved Roman town. And it's sad and eerie to go there, but it's also really fascinating to go through a town, a Roman town, that is so well preserved. It's really quite an experience to have to go there. And if you do go, I highly recommend stopping in Sorrento, and if the season is right, to stop in Positano. If you're going to be spending more time in the area, you might want to go a little bit south of there and go to Ravello. There's a music festival in Ravello in the summertime, and it's a place that I definitely want to go back to. I've only been there on day trips from Rome, and I would really love to spend more time in the area because it's so beautiful. I recently learned about another island in the area, the island of Ischia. It's Ischia. I didn't really know too much about it, but apparently it's just a beautiful island and it's not very touristed. And so when we are able to go back to Italy, that is definitely some place that I want to check out. It just looks like it's really a gorgeous scene. So my gnocchi are cooking here. They're starting to float to the top, and that's how you know when they're done, is when they're floating. I think I mentioned that I already prepared my tomato sauce. So I have my tomato sauce here. This already has the garlic and the oil, a little bit of basil in it. And I'm actually going to add some Parmesan cheese into the sauce. So this is kind of like a double cheesy recipe because there's Parmesan cheese and then there's mozzarella cheese. So as soon as the gnocchi are done and they're starting to float to the top, I'm going to pull them out with this spider and add them right into the sauce and mix it around. And then I have these little Italian clay pots that I'm going to cook them in. These are actually from Italy. When we were in cooking school in Abruzzo, they made a fabulous eggplant and they made them in these pots, and when we came home we were very happy to find these pots available here. They're very nice cooking vessels, and it's also really nice to be able to portion the food out into individual servings. I'm going to hold this up. Hopefully you'll be able to see it, but my gnocchi are starting to float to the top, which is telling me that they are just about ready. I don't know if you can see that or not. I hope that you can. So I'm going to pull those out in just a second and mix them in with my tomato sauce, and then I'm going to be layering them in my ceramic bowls along with some of the mozzarella cheese. So basically you mix the gnocchi into the sauce, you put a layer of the sauce gnocchi into the bowl, cover it with some of the mozzarella cheese, put in another layer of the gnocchi and sauce, and more mozzarella cheese. This is all hot. I just prepared the sauce and the gnocchi are hot. So in this case, this would only need to be in the oven until the cheese melts and starts to get brown on the top, maybe about 10 minutes. You can also prepare these ahead and then heat them up in an oven. I actually did prepare one ahead and I have it ready to show you when I get this all put together. It took about 15 minutes in a 350-degree oven to get the cheese melted and brown on the top. My gnocchi are all floating on the top, so I'm going to pull them out of here with the spider and transfer them into my tomato sauce. If anybody has any questions, please drop them in the comment box and I will answer them. If I can't answer you while I'm live, I will answer you after the recording is posted. Move this out of the way carefully. So I've got my hot gnocchi and I'm mixing it into my hot sauce here. Again, the sauce, when you put the sauce together, it needs to cook on low temperature for about a half an hour, and this tomato sauce gets infused with the flavor of the garlic and the basil, even though it's just a single garlic clove. So I'm going to open up my cheese here that I grated earlier, and I'm going to start portioning this. So I've got my sauced gnocchi here, and I've got just about a single layer in the bottom of the bowl. I don't know if you can see that in there. I hope that you can. And I'm just going to sprinkle some of the mozzarella cheese on top of that, and then top that with another layer of the sauce with the gnocchi in it. These gnocchi, these potato gnocchi with the mashed potatoes, when they cook up, they have just such a soft consistency. It's almost like eating a little pillow. They're so delicious. And just with the tomato sauce and the cheese melted on it, it's just really a very tasty dish. The only thing that you have to be careful for is that it gets really, really hot. In fact, the instructions say after you take it out of the oven to give it about 15 minutes before you eat it, because you could really burn your mouth because this stuff gets very, very hot. So I'm doing my second one. So this recipe called for a pound of the gnocchi and about a 20-ounce jar of sauce, and it makes 2 healthy servings. Of course, you could double this, or triple it, and you could also do it in a casserole if you didn't want to do individual servings like I'm doing. But I'm just going to go ahead and get this portion out here. So I'm getting the cheese in there, I'm sorry, the gnocchi, the cheese at the bottom covered up with the gnocchi. So that's all covered. I'm going to add the rest of my cheese on top. And I'm going to pull the other one out of the oven so you can see what the finished product looks like. So give me just a moment to go grab that. And here we are with the finished dish. The gnocchi alla Sorrentina, the gnocchi Sorrentino style. I really hope that you try this. The gnocchi product like this is generally available in the supermarket in the pasta section. A lot of times you'll find it high up on a shelf next to where all the dried pasta is. And it cooks really quickly. When you've got your water boiling, it cooks in about 2 to 3 minutes. So if you have your sauce ready, or if you're using prepared spaghetti sauce, you can actually pull this dish together really quickly. It's a nice one for you to have in your back pocket on a busy weeknight. Might be a little bit hot to eat something like this right now, but this is a great dish for the fall and winter. And as I mentioned, it's just a real comfort food. It's almost like an Italian macaroni and cheese. That's what it reminds me of. I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode from Joan's Kitchen, and I hope to see you back again next week when we'll be in the kitchen again. Ciao for now.